probably going to happen.
Before we get into the session, Darick, this is going to be something pretty awesome and exciting. And does anybody here like The Boys?
Yeah.
So tell us about this.
For all you Boys fans, I have some very exciting news to the public. Adam McKay, director of Anchorman, Talladega Nights, and the other guys, officially announced he will be directing The Boys. So the movie's going forward. It's rated R. Somebody's totally backing him up on the R rating, and apparently the first person he wants to talk to is Simon Pegg.
Yeah. Yes!
I'm very happy with that. So, Simon's been nothing but awesome, and what a great comic come together on that, because he didn't have to be cool. That's going to be good. So I hope he says yes.
Awesome, congratulations.
Anyway, thank you, guys. I'm sure that happy news again.
So today we're with the CBLDF Master Session. We talk about various elements of the comic book art and craft. And today Darick is going to be talking to us about using body language in sequential art. Anybody who's familiar with Darick's work can see that he has a very strong ability to convey action, motion, and emotion through the way characters move from panel to panel. And to do that in a static environment is one of the things that takes just years and years of craft to master. And so today, Darick will be talking to you about some of the tricks and insights that go into that process. And as he's doing that, please do feel free to follow along and to answer questions. There's no question too basic or too advanced here.
Yeah, I really actually like that conversational way of doing this. So, by all means, don't be shy. If you don't understand something or there's something you'd like to elaborate on, you won't be interrupting my train of thought or anything. That's kind of how I keep my train of thought.
And all art created here will benefit the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund. We defend the First Amendment rights of the comic book field. We're at cbldf.org, and it will be on our auction tonight at 7:30 in room 3. So at that, Darick, tell us about this.
I'm going to kind of read this. I'm not used to really explaining my process, so I'm going to try and explain it as best I can. Mostly, I work this out internally and visually until it looks pleasing to my eye, but I try very hard to see and think about what goes on with the characters' bodies that I'm drawing. So I'm going to start with Wolverine, because Wolverine was an interesting dilemma for me. I have a lot of strong opinions on what I thought Wolverine should do and how he should stand, and I found myself disagreeing with a lot of fans and in conflict because they thought I was, I don't know, disrespecting the character, and I felt like I was doing the opposite. So I'm going to start talking about Wolverine. Now I'm just going to draw Wolverine doing something mundane. Now I think in the art of comics, a missing element that for at least the artists I like, what separates the men from the boys, as they say, is the ability to do a quiet moment and have it be authentic looking. Because people get preoccupied, I'm going to stand up and do stupid stuff now, but people get preoccupied with hero poses in a lot of mainstream comic books. So what you'll see is a lot of really super physically fit people, regardless of if they're superhero or not. And they'll always be doing one of about these 3 poses. So of those 3 poses, you don't get a lot of variation, because what you don't want is your coffee barista going, "Here's your coffee!" Or everybody looking like they're pissed off all the time. So I always liked, and this is one of the joys of working with Warren Ellis. When I first worked with him, it was on a book called Ultra Force. And what Warren made a good job of doing was creating moments where the heroes would be natural. Now, even a muscular body relaxes, and it's important to recognize the difference. So I'm going to start again with Wolverine, and I'm going to draw Wolverine in a relaxed pose. And what I want to show you is my thinking as I break this down. This is not photo blue. I hope you could see this, because I'd like the final drawing to be something people will bid on. So, and apparently Terry warned me I might be off center. If I'm off center or you guys can't see what I'm doing, just give me a shout out, okay? Here we go. I always start with the head. It's good to center the head and know where people's focal point tends tends to be on the head of the character, whether or not you are drawing, whether or not it should be, it tends to be where the focal point is. So always like to make sure the head's centered in the composition and start building from there. You're supposed to do a stick figure. I've never been quite comfortable doing that. I sort of just draw my way down and then add detail. So on this case, Wolverine to me, he's 5'3", it's in the Marvel Handbook, no argument there. But I'm 5'8", and I am certainly not an intimidating man. So I know that 5'3" is smaller than I am, because I can do math. So he's about, on me, Wolverine would be about there. That's about 5'3". I'm 5'8", 5'3". So, little short guy is not going to have an elongated trunk, because I know. He's going to have, now I always imagine with the mutant healing factor, he's got an interesting dilemma. He's over 100 years old. These are the facts that I think about when I start to just, do body language. He's over 100 years old, and looks like he's in his early 40s, which is miraculous in itself. Also, he takes a lot of abuse for fun when he's not working. He likes to go to bars and smoke and drink and get into fights for the sake of it, because we've seen a gazillion drawings of him in a cowboy hat, and that was something. So clearly he's on his own time. He's off the clock. I think if you drink, using with the healing factor, you're going to have a little punch at being over 100 years old and constantly drinking. Now, I think he drinks to take away the pain, because I think this man is always in pain. Now, he's got the metal lining his bones, and if you know anything about anatomy, or if you've ever studied fitness or made the failed attempt to get in shape like me, you know that you tear down muscle with weightlifting, and it builds itself back up stronger and firmer, theoretically. I'm still waiting to see that happen. But that's the plan. And so, I think if you have added weight to your bones, even if it's a few ounces, you're constantly under a stress that nature didn't put there. So, whenever Wolverine does anything, gets up to get a beer, is, looking for the remote, whatever the hell Wolverine is doing at that time, he's straining his body and tearing down muscle. So this physique that he has doesn't come from weightlifting. I've never seen Wolverine really at the gym, in the danger room, but not like, trying to impress the ladies. He's, I think he naturally builds muscle just walking around. So, I think there'd be a hunch, I believe he would have a hunch to his bows, because again, they call him May Shorty, all kinds of derogatory names about his height. And so, his trunk would be tight and short, his legs would be extremely squat, and he'd have very heavy calves, because all that weight is going on to his legs. So, what I'm trying to show here is him just standing in a neutral kind of pose. Not posing to be a superhero, just, waiting for the bus. What we got, is that coming through for you guys?
Yeah.
All right, great. I'm going to go in with a regular pencil here in a second and add some detail. I'd just like to get my, and hopefully this is something you can learn from too. It took me years to, because as a boy, and when I was teaching myself to draw, I used to just go for it. And what you find often is you have giant, well-drawn heads on misshapen bodies. But you do that. So it's always good to kind of work out your structure first. Like block yourself, basically like lay down the pavement before you start driving. That's kind of what I'm doing here. So you're going to see me doodle around and sketch. And, I was really excited when I got a little older and a little better at my craft to discover that some John Buscema drawings that weren't finished and some French Rosetta drawings that weren't finished, two of my big influences. And this is their process too. And I was very excited to see that, I kind of found that mojo a little bit. So, not that I'm that like, nice to have a touch of. So, I don't want to step on Terry's topic, but I also think Wolverine should look miserable all the time. So I always try to make him look like he's about to pop a little even if you're just having a conversation, I don't think he looks too pleasant. Because he's Wolverine, he's a nasty little animal, that's the whole. I hate seeing Logan smiling unless it's really warranted. I also think that with the healing factor, this is sort of off topic, but I think with the healing factor, you know, you look at a boxer after years of fighting, and he doesn't, I don't think the healing factor would necessarily put it back the right way. I think it would just keep it from being a wound. And so I think his face was kind of bashed up for all the years he spent, you know, duking it out before he got metal bones, because he spent all that time as an agent. So I just think he'd be a lot uglier than Hugh Jackman, but I think Hugh Jackman can really do that.
Did I hear a question?
Yeah, I'm afraid that this is an ignorant question.
No, there's no such thing.
When you were designing this physique for Wolverine, what elements, what kind of pushback did you get in terms of your interpretation? Was he too stout? Was he too squat?
That's a stupid question. No, I'm just kidding. No, the pushback I got was that it wasn't. It was more fan-oriented than it was, you know, editorially directed. It was more that I just, you know, there's different ways of drawing. I always like that all the different artists that work on Marvel characters over the years would bring their own twist to it. A Sam Keith Wolverine didn't look anything like Frank Miller's Wolverine, which didn't look anything like Barry Windsor-Smith's Wolverine, but you all knew Wolverine and they were all awesome in their own way. I think Jim Lee set the standard in the 90s for what all the X-Men template would be. So what I would, you know, the word troll kept coming up. He looks like a little troll. I'm like, no, he looks like a Wolverine, you know. I mean, that's what I was going for. If you know anything about the actual animal, it's a short, little, nasty, burrowing animal that will relentlessly stalk you if you piss it off. Until it kills you and eats you, and that's what a Wolverine will do. If you make the mistake of actually interrupting a Wolverine in its den, it is a vicious, deadly, relentless creature. So, that's this guy's namesake. I don't really think he looked sexy. But I also think but you know, you got comic book. Oh, I'm sorry, you have a question?
Oh, you finished your point.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I think another problem with people that get really insular within comics is, you know, and the ladies can argue with me with their own opinions. One of the things that's very attractive about fantasy characters for males is we like that idealized Aphrodite established female. Well, I think women are similarly attracted to ultra male because it's the way biology works. So I don't think he has to be looking like James Bond to be attractive to a woman that sees his nobility and his kindness within the gentle, you know, the gentle side of him that can also be ferocious. I think a woman would feel really safe with him, and he probably has more money than God because he's been around for 100 years, and God knows where, you know, and he doesn't need it, but he has it as a resource. I think Wolverine would exude that, and a woman would feel attracted to him, and that's why he would get a Jean Grey or something like that. Women are mercifully usually looking for the better qualities of a male than their physical appearance. If I'm wrong, please push back. Okay, thank you.
You made an interesting point about the fan perspective versus the editorial perspective.
Yeah, well, you know, so many people get locked on a model. He said up here, that was an interesting point that fan perspective versus editorial perspective can be different. I realize you guys back there can't hear. Is that?
Well, I was just saying, like, how, because as a fan, and you as a fan, I like that. I like that interpretation.
Thank you.
And when I look at the movie and I see Hugh Jackman as, you know, 6'3" Wolverine,
yeah,
that bugs me.
It bugs me too.
But
and, I mean, it's not Hugh's fault.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I guess how, as an artist, and you know, you're creating ideas like that appeal to the fan, in my opinion.
Yeah.
How much pushback or how out of touch are the editors with the fan
they're
base?
Fans too. I mean, it's not fair to say that they're out of touch. I mean, it's an argument because it's a template, and if the fans get locked on